Hey guys, my name is Heather Lindsey.
And my name is Cornelius Lindsey.
And I'm so excited that you landed on Life with the Lindseys.
This is so exciting. This gives us an opportunity to share our life with yours.
Yes, we're going to be talking about everything from entrepreneurship to ministry to your purpose to why you are here, family, parenting, relationships, marriage, sex, you name it. We are talking about it.
So thank you so much for joining us today with Life with the Lindseys. Enjoy it.
Wait, is that how we're, wait, what are you singing? Babe,
what?
Pastor? What are you singing,
I don't care about you calling me Pastor, cuz. I don't
care. What are we going to do after 50 when you retire from being a pastor?
What do you mean what I'm going to do?
Can I still call you pastor and use it as a convicting way to get you to think about what you're doing?
Dang, is that what you like to do? Because it does not affect me one bit.
I think all of our listeners would just love to know what you were just singing.
What do you mean what I was singing? I was humming. It wasn't even a
song?
Yeah, it was a ratchet Hill song. No, that's a complete lie. It wasn't Hillsong. It was Waka Flocka, but
you listen to Waka Flocka, baby?
Waka
we need to do a whole thing on like music and
people be like, "Oh, you listen to second." Like this one girl went off on me one time on social media because I posted a picture on my video on my Insta story of me working out, and I was lifting, and like behind it was like a song, and she was like, you know, you're going over into the world and you're listening to secular music. So I was interested, so I like clicked on her page and. It was like December, right around Christmas time. And she was in church. One of her videos was in church singing like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in church. And I was like, you know, if I was really petty right now, I could really comment and take the same like stone she threw at me and throw it back at her. And it's like, you are singing about a reindeer in church. It has nothing to do with Jesus. Yeah. It has absolutely nothing to do with Jesus. It's about reindeers and Santa Claus. Yeah. Like the people who come after me are the same people who probably believe in the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. So, you know, I put no stake in people, none whatsoever. So I don't care.
People always ask me, well, do you listen to secular music too? As though they're trying to measure me.
Well, they try. People are always trying to measure people by themselves.
I agree.
You know, and I feel like people nowadays, because we are so law driven, we're trying to figure out how good we are in comparison to other people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, do you do everything right? Because this is what I do. Because I know some people who only listen to gospel and they're still mean.
Yeah.
It's like, and then, I mean, let's be honest. A lot of the gospel music, a lot of music that we call gospel nowadays is not even gospel music. It's not even about the gospel. They call it inspirational because it's inspirational.
Yeah.
Just because a song doesn't have cursing in it doesn't mean it doesn't have cursing in it. Doesn't mean this is gospel song. It's just, it's an inspirational song. It's uplifting. It is nothing to God, nothing whatsoever.
So when I listen to music, I listen for the heart, like the spirit behind it.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm very different. I'm very, very particular on the music I listen to and the artist because I'm searching for the heart. You know, I'm a big feeler.
I know you're a feeler.
I'm a big feeler. So I can feel spirit. So I'd be like, babe, do you mind turning that down?
I listen to beats.
Yeah.
I mean, when that beat drop, that's all I need. That's all I need. I just need the beat to drop. Boom.
Okay.
When the beat drops, it's on.
Why don't we do our next podcast on this? Because we could go on and talk about this.
We might talk about this. We might talk about we talk about like communication. We got a lot of stuff we need to talk about. But today
we're talking about something else.
We're talking about something else. And I guess you can also see our differences because, I mean, and those of you who are listening out there, just know, I mean, you can be different and still be together. I think that our differences, it shows God's sovereignty. It shows that God can still put two different people together who have two different sets of convictions, and he can still use them for his glory. So, you know.
I agree. There's 7 billion people on this earth, and God paired us together.
I know. Self-righteous people do not like me, but law-given people, they love you. That's how it is. They do. The self-righteous love you. They're like, oh my God, we're right. We're all right.
Yeah.
And then the people who are like from the gutter, like, okay, all right, then I can get out with him, but I'm Riverdale to the court, Clay Cole forever.
And then those people are like, hey, Heather, over there.
Yeah, they're like,
and they pretend to be perfect.
Hey, when people come into the house and they like, hold on, is Heather here? Because hell y'all. So in our house, we call Heather pastor and I'm the first husband. because hey, if Heather was pastor of the Go Church, we'd probably be fasting every single day.
Yeah, for
Like,
365.
365. It'd be like this
365,
whole
baby.
David fast. We have like a whole evangelistic team. And
Oh yeah, we'd be laying hands.
we have an
every 5
evangelistic team, but I
every
mean, I'm
5
just saying.
seconds. It'd be very different. But that's the beauty. You're the pastor.
Yeah. And I'm more of a teacher. I'm more of like a teaching pastor. I like to teach.
And I'm more of an evangelist.
You're more evangelist, like rah, 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 like get your life together right now, you girls. Is
that how I talk?
No, you don't talk like that. It's just when I hear you like, get your life together. You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. Right now, Spirit of God is telling me this. So evidence for it. No, that's not how you talk.
I think I talk a little stronger than
you
that.
don't. No, you do. You talk. I wasn't trying to depict the way you talk. It's just that my voice changed. The inflection was not right.
Are you sure you want to talk about surviving children today?
But that's what we said we're talking about. We said we were talking about surviving kids and those little rascals that we have.
Why don't we talk about that the next episode? And why don't we stay where we're at?
Surviving children? Oh, you don't want to talk about surviving kids right now?
We can talk about the next one. I just feel like the Lord's leading us in this direction. You don't think so?
Because you feel it. You feel it.
I do. I feel it. And you don't.
I don't.
Because
I'm a person of principle. This is the standard. This is what the standard is. We said we're talking about this, and now you're trying to deviate from it because you feel it. Like you came up to me one time in church. Remember the time you came to me in church? You was like, babe, I know we have a schedule, but I really feel God doing this right now. And I'm all for that. I'm all for, hey, we can feel it. Let's do it. Like God's doing a new thing. He's moving some things. But like, okay, there is a protocol. There's a protocol.
I wanted to lay hands. I believe that people were suffering in that room with depression, and I wanted to get my hands on them and cast that spirit out in the name of Jesus.
And see, I wanted to preach to them because it's important for them to get the information. Because if they just get hands laid on them and they go back home, then the same thing that happened to them, they're going to think that it's a magical experience that kind of captures their attention again. But that's how we both work together. So I was like, hey, babe, I was like, okay, this is what you believe God is saying. Boom, here's the microphone. Go up there, do what you do. Then after you got finished, I went behind you and I was like, okay, now I want you to understand what happened. And then I think God does a great job in his sovereignty of being able to complement things well. And I think that oftentimes people assume that if it's not the way I like it, then it can't be God.
Yeah.
And that's silly. It's like God puts us in, like, community is dirty. Community is nasty because everybody in community is different. We're all just different.
Yeah. I agree. And I think a great title for this would be Celebrating Differences. Because I feel like
you just do that title out there. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. You just kind of threw it out there.
But don't you feel like that?
I mean, yeah.
But I just feel like people think, well, if I'm like this,
then
you need to be like me in order to be right.
True.
We have even gone to churches before that when you leave the church, you're excommunicated.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't talk to you. We don't deal with you. Like, why not in the body of Christ? Why can't we come together and agree to disagree and have our differences? I mean, there's been people that have hated me because they say I'm too happy.
That's true.
Like, just because I'm not like you and I don't think like you doesn't mean you have to hate me.
That's true.
It just means that, hey, we're different, but God pairs us all together. He brings us all together to eliminate each other's weaknesses. Like, even in our marriage, like, I came in and one thing you always said is, you mentioned this in the last episode we had, but I was your sunshine. I brought joy and happiness, but you brought structure into my life. You were like, Heather, you everywhere.
Hold on, Heather. Why you say Heather?
That's what you say when you get real country, when I try to do the most. You be like, Heather. You be like, you're doing too much. You need to think through what you're doing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And I just feel like it took me a long time in our marriage to accept our differences.
Why did it take you so long?
Because I wanted you to be like the image of the man I created in my head.
Oh, Shindakia Todiamo.
I wanted you to be like my idea of marriage. You see, as a young girl, I'm growing up, I'm playing with Barbie dolls, right? I'm playing with dolls. I have this idea of family, of what it's going to look like and how I'm going to be cuddled every 5 seconds because my love language is touching. Like, I just want my husband to touch me all day long, the whole day. Like, that literally and cuddle and hold hands. And like, when you walk through the door,
get hot.
Hold on. When you walk through the door, I want to kiss. When you leave, I want to kiss. I want to hug.
We do that.
We do. But I mean, like, extra, you know what I'm saying? Like, I believe that we should have sex every day. You know what I mean? Like, we all have ideas of what things should be like, you know what I mean? In our marriage, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have an idea. And when we got married, I had to realize and release my idea of who I thought I wanted and search to see who God created you to be.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want. I want to know who God created you to be. I don't want you to be the image or the fantasy that I created in my head, because that person doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a perfect person.
Dang, I'm almost interested to knowing what you wanted then.
Baby, I want you. I want all of you. And that's it for the rest of your life. Because the thing is this, when God paired us together over 10 years ago, God chooses somebody not only for where I was 10 years ago, but where I'm going 30 years from now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
And people don't understand that.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Like, who you marry makes a difference. Because if you marry a fool who doesn't know where they're going, then ultimately you're not going to know where you're going. Yeah. And you'll look up 20 years because that person is like you or is like what you wanted, and not realize that you married what you wanted, not what you needed.
Exactly.
And I believe that when you truly submit and you say, okay, God, I'm going to let you drive this train, because I've been driving it. And obviously I don't pick well. So God, when I let you drive this train, I may be uncomfortable with what you choose.
Come on.
But God, I'm going to trust you in what you chose. I mean, we say it all the time. Like, Heather wasn't on my list and I wasn't on Heather's list. And so when we met each other, it was kind of like, are we, like, this is really happening. And it was like you said, like, I had this idea in my head of like what my wife was going to be like. I had this idea in my head of like what my marriage was going to be like. I had this idea in my head.
Can you share with the marriage? Because people don't know that you wanted like a homemaker, didn't you?
Yeah, I wanted a homemaker. I mean, of course. I mean, you think about it. You think like, I'm very ambitious. I'm very headstrong, A-type personality. So with that, like I thought for me, I would do better with a homemaker. Somebody who was like, down south country girl. I mean, no offense, you have long hair and you're light skin and stuff like that. But I was looking more of the browner skin. I was looking, more that direction. And I wanted what I grew up around in Mississippi. Yeah. Like I wanted a down south country girl who can make me some fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, even though I've never eaten macaroni and cheese in my life, because I think it's absolutely gross. It's nothing more than just noodles and cheese. But I wanted somebody who can at least cook it like some yams on a Tuesday, fried pork chop. And then all of a sudden, like God brings this woman into my life from the North. I mean, you were born in Michigan. When I met you, you were in like New York and New Jersey. And he brings this woman into my life who's like, like, why are you eating Doritos? And I'm like, because they're good. You're like, don't eat Doritos.
I can make them for you.
You was like, I can make you Doritos. I'm like, you're the craziest person I've met for in my life. Nobody makes Doritos. And then I never forget, you was like, hey, I want to give you a snack box. Remember that? Uh-huh. And I never forget, I was getting back on the plane. I was with my boss at the time and he was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, Heather made me a snack box. And I opened it up and it had cashew butter, no, almond butter, and apples. And that was the first time in my life that I ever knew that almonds made butter. I was like, this is.
Wait, you didn't know that?
I knew peanut. Nobody ate no almond butter in my house. We ate peanut butter. I was like, where does she get almond butter from? She must go to Whole Foods. Like, I was like, who eats? I was eating peanut butter. And it was almond butter and
peanuts
and
don't
apples.
digest well, just so you guys know.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, and then it was, you gave me cashews and it was this cashew and cranberry mix. I never forget holding up the bag and looking at my boss. I was like, does she think I'm a bird? I was like, why is she giving me nuts? I was like, this is nuts and berries. Like, this is insane. So like what you brought into my life was something completely different than what I wanted. But I think that, as I said earlier, I think that it shows God's sovereignty when we finally submit to something that says, okay, God, I'm going to trust you at what you can do. Because now it's like, okay, now we'll be able to help people and do this. And it is only by God's grace that you and I could even like stay together without killing each other.
Literally, without killing each other.
Yeah.
And
facts.
I want to jump into that. And I just want to talk about that in a second.
It's already January 2020 and everybody's been thinking about everything, all this science fiction, all these predictions. People predicted that we'd be teleporting to work or living on Mars or something, but all these predictions have been wrong. The truth is we'll always get the future wrong, which is why we need to make sure we get life insurance right. This is where Policy Genius comes in to help.
Yes. And we still don't have flying cars. Now, I love Policy Genius because it does all of the hard work for you. You can save over $1,500 a year by using Policy Genius to compare life insurance policies.
So if all your science fiction dreams for 2020 haven't become science fact, don't get discouraged. Get life insurance right now. It only takes a few minutes to find your best price and apply at policygenius.com. Policy Genius will always get the future wrong, but it's better to get life insurance right. Again, policygenius.com.
Okay, and we're back. So my precious husband just said, the last thing he said was, we're staying together without killing each other. And the reason why he's saying that is because we both are very headstrong. We both have an idea of how we want things done. Most of the guys that I dated were very passive, so I could be controlling over the relationship and I could lead it. And I was happy with that. When I met my husband, I was mentoring men.
I don't understand. Like in my head, that is so far away from me. That a man is like, I'm going to a woman for mentorship. That is like, boom. Like I'm for my personality. Hey, I'm not judging. They do what they do. I just don't understand how a man. Never mind. I mean, you can have a mom, but like, for a man to go to you for mentorship, I just tell Heather, I'd be like, man, don't be you. Like you are blind. Those dudes like you. They don't go to you for. They didn't
like me. They need help with their life.
No, they don't need help with their life. They like you. Ain't no man going to a woman for no mentorship. Like, no. Men are going in DMs because they don't want likes. He wants some help. All right.
Right. So I was about to go on my lunch and I called Cornelius. He's like, where are you going? Where are you on your way to? We were just recording. And I said, I have a counseling session with this guy that I'm helping, with his life. He's just not sure what to do in his life. And I'm just helping him. And he was like, no, you're not. But actually you said something else. To heck you aren't. You said another word.
I probably said another word.
Yeah, you did. To heck you are.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what is going on? And I'm like, well, I was a leader, you know what I mean, at our church. So I mentored and I helped a lot of people, males and females and different things like that. I didn't understand the boundaries. And obviously my now husband called me out and he said, they like you. And I'm like, no, they don't like me. But as soon as I put that boundary up with them, they stopped reaching out to me.
Because I was like, I said, if you want help, give my number. Tell him to call me. Dude never called me.
Never called you.
Dude never called me because he didn't want help.
I was shocked.
He didn't want help.
Like,
he wanted you.
I was like, no way he wanted me.
I think that it's very important that men help men and women help women. That's what I feel. I feel like men help men, women help women. Because I don't understand, like when we come to church, like, hey, can you pray for me? Like I can pray. I can like do like a general prayer, but ultimately if you want something very specific, like pray with my wife or pray with the other ladies.
Yeah.
I'll quickly like walk a lady over and be like, hey, here's our prayer team. This young lady, she needs prayer for something. Cause it's just like,
those are boundaries you have to set up.
Yeah.
If you don't, I love Billy Graham. That was one of his boundaries. He said he never counseled another woman without his wife in the room or somebody else in the room.
I was just watching The Crown and he was definitely sitting there with the queen.
I don't know how true that boundary was that many years ago.
Yeah.
But like in general, he always made sure he was like, he didn't sit down and eat lunch with other women. You know what I mean? Imagine if I was sitting down with a guy in Atlanta and somebody came up, because people come up to us all the time in Atlanta. They'd be like, wait, that's not Cornelius. That's another man.
Facts.
So you want to stay away from the appearance of sin. So I look like I'm cheating on my whole family. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm just helping him.
Exactly. People go there immediately. But learning to celebrate our differences, I had to learn quickly. And this is what Cornelius said to me. He said, I'm your friend now. He said, I'm your friend. I'm all the friend you need.
Me, the Holy Spirit, the Father, and the Son.
Those are the only men in your life.
The only ones.
And so I'd never heard of that boundary before at all. Like I'd never heard of that. But I appreciated your leadership early on. Although it was hard for me because I felt like, and I can take it back even deeper. And I talk about this a lot in my books. And I have a course on insecurity, but I talk about it. And I was just saying, like with my father, the only time he really, and I'm sure he encouraged me in other times, don't get me wrong, but I feel like looking back over the years of my life, a lot of times he talked to me, he disciplined me and he was hard on me. And obviously we know he needed to be, because I was strong and I needed somebody to, correct me and stuff. But I started to look at you like my dad. And I'm like, first of all, you're not my daddy, so you don't tell me what to do. So I would say that to you because I'm saying you're trying to control me, and I'm a grown woman, and I finally got out of his control. Unfortunately, my dad passed away when I was 17. I still miss and love him very much, but I was looking at you as though you're trying to rule me, you're trying to control me, and I didn't want to be controlled. And that's what's hard about being type A personality, is learning to really submit my will and lay it at the feet of the Father.
That's the beauty of submission. And that's why most people don't like submission. Most people don't like submission because they don't understand it. It's erroneous in how they choose to define it.
Yeah.
Submission is actually a great thing. It's like, okay, any fool can rebel.
Yeah.
You know how strong you got to be to submit? Like any fool can go out and do something stupid. Like, but submission is like, okay, I'm going to make the choice to lay down my will for somebody else's. That's true strength. So when the Bible says, wives submit unto your husbands and everything, then he's not talking to weak women. He's talking to a woman, a wife who is saying, I am strong enough, which is almost like, I could cuss you out, but I choose not to. And the people out there who know how difficult it is to make the choice not to, like I could respond,
That's real.
But I don't. You're on your job and you like right now, you probably had a situation happen. Like I could text you back, but I won't.
Yeah.
That's strength. That takes true courage. Like submission is literally, I'm getting under the mission of another, the assignment of another. So that's why marriage is so powerful. And when I try to, I continue to tell couples all the time, before you get married, what is the vision? What is the mission? What is the identity? Where are you going? Because the problem is, if you don't know the mission, then how is a wife supposed to get under something? How is she supposed to support something? How is she supposed to come into a union and saying, well, we don't know where we're going. So you can't expect for a wife to submit to nothing. It's almost like there's nothing there. And then the beautiful part about it, another reason why people get so upset about submission is they're like, well, that's just about the wives. Why do wives got to do everything? That's the reason why God is a God of justice. So God says, I have to tip the balance of the scales in both directions. No point of the balance is supposed to be off. So with that being said, like husbands, love your wives as Christ so loved the church, which means that a husband he's not to be tyrannical. He's not to be a tyrant or a dictator. Yeah. He's supposed to love her. And thus it makes it easier for her to submit. Mm-hmm. So now it's not like, well, he ain't doing his and I'm only got to do mine. No, bro. It's like, no, you're doing it together because God is a God of justice. He's saying, husbands, love your wives. Wives, submit unto your husbands, which then gets into the next time where he says, husbands and wives, submit unto one another, because the two of you are balancing the thing out. Yeah. Love and respect and submission.
I think what's hard is like, for example, if we're doing something together and I'm like, hey, babe, I want to do it like this. And you're like, well, no, I think we should do it like this. So then your way.
You're going to bring that up.
Yeah. So then your way would trump mine then, right?
Not necessarily, because see, the difficulty for me is this, as the husband and as what I believe to be a biblical priest and leader in my home. Yeah. It's hard for me because I always wrestle with, I'm really big into responsibility. Yeah. So I feel like when I make a decision, I understand that it's not just my decision. Yeah. It's a decision that my entire family is going to have to get. So it's a very heavy mantle to carry. So when a wife comes into the house and she has a sense of false submission, especially to a man who is seeking to do it right, then it's very difficult because the man is saying, I'm doing everything I can to make the right decisions. But when you fight me, like I can always fight for us, but I can't fight for us when you fight me. Yeah. So nonetheless, when you come to me and you're like, well, that's not how I want to do it. The dilemma I have is saying, well, man, like now I'm confused and like, should we still do it the way I wanted to do it? Because as a leader, I want to make sure that I'm weighing the options. And most times I concede and I'm like, I hear what sometimes I'll say most times, but sometimes I'd be like, you know what? You're right. We could probably try it like this. Maybe that is a little bit easier. That's a little bit better. Yeah. But that's very difficult. Being the leader is not easy. Yeah. And while we know a lot of things that women deal with, man, it's like men probably don't want to say it because we probably don't want to hear women saying, well, it's just as hard as being a woman or whatever the crap that comes along with this. But I'm going to make this statement because it's true. And every man out there is going to agree with me. It's not easy being a man. Yeah.
And you're right, babe. You're right. And I think what comes to play with submission is actually trusting your leader and trusting your spouse. And that's why women measure submission based on performance. So they feel like if you're being a good husband, or if I feel like you're loving me like Christ loves the church in Ephesians 5, then I will submit to you. So it's a conditional submission that says, okay, you're not treating me right. Why would I submit to you? Yeah. That's how women feel. You know what I mean? And that's what's really hard. And what has helped me, and that is the Lord has reminded me also many times where, Heather, well, yes, Cornelius is commanded to love you, but are you being very lovable right now? And another thing that the Lord really just challenged me with is, Heather, I want you to submit is on to me.
That's it. That's
Get your husband out of your head and out of your way. And I want you to submit as onto me.
Yeah.
And once I believe we get our eyes on Jesus and he becomes our focus, then we will recognize the curse that's coming from Genesis, where one of the curses for Eve was you will desire to rule over your husband. And that is a constant trend that is going on in this world right now. So many women want to rule over their husbands, but you've got to understand that is a curse. And we have to, and that's, babe, listen, it's a generational curse.
Yeah.
It's a curse that's been going on, but it's happening because a lot of men, I don't want to like shame anybody, but I feel like you're very strong. So you're going to hold your priestlyhood, whether I'm rocking or not. You're like I'm the head.
I think I told you after we got married, I was like, God told us to move to Mississippi. And you were like, well, babe,
down.
But I remember even before you said you were down, I think when I came and told you, I was like, hey, God was telling me we need to move to Mississippi. I'm very strong about this. And I kind of looked at you. I remember saying to you, I'm going whether or not you going or not.
He didn't even give me a chance. I didn't give her a chance.
I was like, I'm going to do what God said, whether you going to do it or not.
I'm like, could you at least like be like, hey, babe, we're going together. He's like, I'm going to Mississippi. I'm like, are we not married? I said, I'm going where you going.
And I was like, dude, this is ride or die. We going together.
We going together. But I have even noticed in my own life where say you'll be leading on a certain area. And this is what we have learned. Actually, let's take a little break. And I want to talk real quickly about how I've learned, with leadership. Okay, so we're back. And something I've learned just about dealing with our leadership styles and different styles, I've noticed when I can sense that rebellion in me, right? And that rebellion in me didn't come just from our marriage. It came from that with my father. And it came even deeper with rejection and abandonment and the different things it's been generationally, right? So I have had to renounce that rebellion in the name of Jesus. Like I can feel that rebellion rising up in me to try to rule over you. And I have to say, no, I'm not going to, no, that's part of the curse. I renounce that in the name of Jesus. I'm not going to question everything that my husband does. We even had a discussion yesterday about, you were saying that you had to go take this meeting out of state, but I had an understanding that it was something else. I thought it was like a pep rally that you were going to do with our team. And you're like, no, it's just like one-on-one meetings. But I was like trying to help and trying to lead, but I didn't mean to, but I thought I was helping you. But even
in give me all these things, I was like, hold up. I got this. I know what I'm doing. I'm doing this. I've been doing this. I know what I'm doing.
But for me, I thought I was being helpful with coming up with ideas, suggestions. Do you want me to come, babe, and help you and be a support and be present? But in your head, you had an idea of what the meeting was. And in my head, I felt like I was just coming along to help.
Yeah, no, I ain't see it like that. I saw it as, it was like Heather was trying to come in again. And trying to like, I'm gonna need for you to lower that down, just calm all that down. But and that goes into the perspective and being able to look at it and saying, okay, God, I don't believe that is necessarily her intention, and I want to look at this the bright side. And just like last night, I came to you and I asked you.
Yeah.
I said, hey, I don't want to assume that this is what you meant.
Yeah.
So I want to go ahead and ask you. And I think that we've gotten to that place in our marriage. Finally, we're able to just ask each other those questions because we don't have to assume anymore. I've learned communication resolves a multitude of problems.
Come on.
If you just ask the question, like, hold up, I heard what you said, but how you said it.
Yeah.
I just trying to make sure that, is this what you meant? Because this is what I took.
Yeah.
And when you can do that, man, it helps so much. Like last night you were like, no, that's not what I meant. And I'm like, are you sure? Because that's how I took it. And you're like, no, I didn't mean it at all. Like I was seriously trying to help. I was like, okay, bro, that's good. Just next time, nah.
But how do I know?
You're right. And that's the reason why it took me so long to ask, because I was going back and forth in my head. I was like, she would have no idea what's going on here. But in my head, I was like, how you got like that your head, that your mind is a battlefield. And in my head, I was like, but she should have asked me. She should have asked me, like, what was the vision? Like, what were you seeking to do first before she provided all of this unsolicited advice?
But I thought you were asking me.
But no, I was out. Okay. Full transparency, I wasn't asking.
But you know what? I'm learning to be a mind reader. Next time I'm gonna need you to say that.
I wasn't asking. It was more like telling. And then you were coming to say, well, why don't you do this? And I was like, but this wasn't open for discussion. But you're right. You didn't know. You had no idea. And that's why I was like, dude, this is petty. just tell her, just ask her, be like, yo, is this what you meant? And then when you was like, no, that's not what I meant. I was like, okay, cool, we're moving on.
Because it confuses me because think about it. 3-4 days ago, we were talking about a sermon title and you asked me.
That was the difference. So I asked you.
Right. You were like, what do you think about this? Or when you were talking about the meeting, you were like, I'm thinking about going here at this time. So it was set the same. So I was like, okay, he needed help with the sermon title because I was sending you all these ideas and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I wanted that because I wanted to call the sermon title "Wipe Me Down" from the song.
Let him
Wipe me
guys.
down, wipe me down. I mean, whatever. But it is what it is. I mean, Heather, that's why she's past it.
It was called The Purge.
It was called The Purge, but
Praise
we just met somewhere in the middle because I was trying to be ratchet with the title. But Heather, so I mean, yeah, but right then I asked you. I was like, Heather, what is it? Boom, what is the thing? And then you continue to help me with the title until we finally like settled on.
I thought that's what we were doing again.
Well, no, because I didn't know I phrased that as a question. It was more like, hey, I'm thinking about going down going over to Charlotte, blah, 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 blah. And this is what I'm thinking about doing, blah, blah, blah. So I was just kind of expressing what I was thinking about, not necessarily looking for the response in what I was thinking.
So for other couples that are listening or other people that are listening, do you think it would be helpful in the beginning to just say, hey, I'm not looking for a solution. I'm just telling you what's on my heart.
Well, I mean, sometimes that works if you can remember to say that, or sometimes it's just good for the other person to just be like, hey, are you asking me for my opinion? Are you asking me for advice? Or are you just trying to talk to me right now?
Are you just talking?
Are you just talking? Are you just venting? Because sometimes I come to you, I'm just like, I want to vent.
That's true.
And sometimes I'm like, well, I don't want to vent because she gonna give me her advice, and I don't want her advice. If I want her advice, I ask her for her advice, and then I start getting buck in my head, and then before you know it, I done got this whole animosity inside of my heart that I have no reason to have.
Isn't it crazy how many relationships have wars in their head right now based on non-communication?
And they're not even talking to each other. And it's so baseless. And that's not even what they meant. It wasn't even their intention.
It wasn't.
But the enemy plays with our head. The mind is the battlefield. He plays with our head to make us think this is how this goes. And this is what, and it's like, we don't have to live that way. We don't have to continue to live that way. But unfortunately we do. And it has the potential to destroying the entire relationship. It's like allowing a little poison in the body over time.
Yeah.
Because you don't think the poison is bad. Yeah. Until finally you're destroyed because now that little dose of poison, it turned into a lot over time and then it kills you.
I agree. So I've learned also before I even go to you about things is first to check with the Holy Spirit. And this helped me to be less crazy because come on, Holy Ghost. I remember there was this time where we've shared this story before, but I was pregnant with Taylor and you didn't make my plate. And I was mad because it was Sunday and you cooked all this food and you didn't make my plate. And I was real pregnant.
I didn't make your plate.
You didn't make my plate, which was weird because
Did I make your plate?
No, I make yours. But at this point I was like, have I ever made your plate? No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
Baby, in 10 years, you have.
I have cooked for you. That's probably the one time I didn't make your plate.
You just made me realize you've never cooked for me.
That's a lie. Link in your breath stink.
When you cook for me.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that in front of these people. Don't do that in front of these people.
When you cook for me.
Heather, remember when you used to be a carnivore?
Okay, so you would cook then, but
I don't know how to make vegan food. I mean, I know how to chop. How many apples have I chopped up for you? Thousands. How many? A couple. Good.
Well, I'm gonna teach you how to make vegan
got to your brain. No. I don't know how to do the vegan stuff. But there was a time when this vegan woman over here we used to go to a steakhouse and we would tear up some steak together.
We would split it.
Chicken because we were broke. We were broke. So we would like splurge about like a piece of filet and we would like split it. We get like 2 ounces a piece. We'd be so hungry.
And it would just be like melt like butter in our mouth. I remember with the truffle butter.
That truffle butter. We used to make truffle fries. Remember truffle fries? Put Parmesan on them.
Yeah.
Now you can't even eat, Parmesan truffle fries. You can only eat truffle fries. No, it's not the same. It's not the same. So now we have to get different fries because when we do Parmesan truffle, Heather has to do truffle fries with our Parmesan and I get Parmesan truffle fries. So you can't eat mine because there's cheese on it.
Yeah.
But continue the story. That time I didn't fix your plate. But usually
so that particular time you didn't.
That one. Okay.
Right. And I was very pregnant. And I remember just being really mad. So I waddled my tail up there and I got my own food. And I remember being like super upset with you. And I had so many plans to just rip you apart when we got back into the house by ourselves or back into the room. So I like to wait until bedtime to have discussions.
You like to wait until I get relaxed in order to then give me more anxiety.
Whoa. Is that what we're
That's what
doing
you just
today?
said. That's what you just said.
So it gives you anxiety when I talk to you.
Oh my goodness. That ain't even what I said.
So when am I supposed to talk to you?
That ain't even what I said.
Because you work during the day. You got
Hey,
meetings all day.
Hey, little buddy. That ain't what I said.
All right.
That ain't what I said.
Okay. So long story short.
So much fun.
I know, right? So last time. Let me finish my story.
Finish your story.
So I get in the shower and I'm in the shower. You know how you pre-plan your argument? Like you ready, like I was ready to attack, right? Because I thought about everything that you could possibly say and how I was going to shoot it down with every other thing talking about I'm carrying your child. Like I was ready, y'all. And I remember,
but you gotta understand, I carried that child for 31 years?
What? Oh my gosh. You talking about your sperm?
I carried the child.
What's wrong with you?
I carried the child. Baby.
Really? Are we doing this right now?
I carried the child.
Are we doing this right
I also carried, like, women be like, I carried the child. Hey, we did too.
But not necessarily, but that's okay. Anyways, PG. So I'm in the shower and the Holy Spirit says to me, Heather, ask Cornelius how his day is. And I said, I don't care about how his day is. All I care about is the fact that he's not serving me. I'm 40 weeks pregnant with his second child that he ain't got to carry. Okay. And so I remember sitting down and the Lord was like, ask him how. It was like the second or third time he said it. So I said, oh, okay. So as soon as you walked in, I looked at you and I said, hey, babe, how's your day going? And your face dropped and you started telling me all this ministry stuff that's been stressing you out, how your mind has been everywhere. And I'm like, wow, I was about to add to your plate with more stress, anxiety, drama, based on my own selfish things that I'm going through. And so I realized, you know what? Everything doesn't need to be taken to you. You know what I mean? I like to measure those different things first. All right, Holy Spirit, is Heather being crazy? Is it her hormones? Let me check my app and see if I'm about to be on my period. Like, you can't be turning up like that, Heather. Like, you're going to ruin your marriage. Okay. And so I decided that I wanted to be a peacemaker in our home. Do I do it all the time? I try to. I really do. It's a conviction of mine. But I learned then, like, I can't take every single issue and every single conflict to you because I feel like you get upset about a lot of things, but you're not as vocal about it. You know what I mean? You kind of just suppress it. But something else I think that has helped us with our celebrating our differences is role playing. Now, I want us to role play.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Are we really about
We're about to do this. Now, couples, I recommend this, even if you're single, even with like a coworker or a friend or somebody that is, you guys are having miscommunication, role playing always works for us. So I'm going to set the scene. We are in Bali. It is the day before we are checking out, right? So it's that night. I am Cornelius and Cornelius is me. So he's going to talk like me and I'm going to talk like him.
Hold up. The day, are we just like a real life event that takes place?
Real life event.
Hold on. What happened the night before we checked out? Was that the vow renewal?
The night before. Yes.
Okay.
So we're back in the room. Heather, it's 8:00. You going to start packing?
Oh my God, Cornelius. Like, why are you always so intense?
That's not how I talk.
I don't know how you, that's close.
It's fine. It's fine. Heather, I need you to plan ahead. We got to pack. We got to clean up. And then tomorrow we got to check out. I need you to think ahead. You're not thinking ahead. I need you to pack. We got to plan ahead because then I look at my stuff. My stuff is already packed. Your stuff isn't packed yet.
Oh my God. So if it's such a big deal to you, why don't you just go and pack my stuff too? Nobody just sits down and fold clothes like you do. Like, why don't you go and pack you can pack my stuff. Why don't you just pack my stuff? It's such a big deal to you. I can do it in the morning, Cornelius. It's going to be okay.
This is your responsibility, Heather. And I'm trying to teach you to plan ahead.
Teach me. You are not my father. Okay. Number one, you are not my father. So you don't teach me anything.
First of all, I don't say it like that. Oh, I say you're not my daddy. Yeah. But I don't say that anymore though. Do I?
Yes. You said it then.
I did. Oh gosh. I probably did.
Is that the end of the role play?
That's the end. But what it showed first to you is that you were being really aggressive about a situation. We weren't in a rush.
But see, in my head, it's a rush. Because in my head, what I'm trying to do is I'm thinking hey, we're packing now because in the morning, I don't want you to rush.
Yeah.
Like in the morning, I want you to sleep in. In the morning, I want you to, like, when you wake up, I want you to be able to eat breakfast. I don't want you to have to think about, I need to pack this up. I don't want you to think about, did I leave something? In my head, I'm thinking, let's think ahead and let's go ahead and let's take care of it now. So we have to think about it later on. In your head, like you
had like 20 hours.
But like 20 hours, it dwindles down fairly quickly, especially when you're having fun. Like, let's just say that we wanted to go to lunch instead of staying in the room and packing. Remember the other couples? Like we were sitting at lunch, like sitting out there enjoying the breeze, like listening to the ocean waves, laughing with other couples. And everybody was like, I was like, where y'all going? We all going to pack. Remember I looked at you and I was like, see, everybody else, like they was like, hey, bro, I got to leave, man. We got to go pack. We ain't packed up the room yet. I'm like, what are you? So most of the whole table was gone.
It's true.
And you and I were sitting there. We was like, well, let's go take a walk on the beach.
Yeah.
Because we took care of all the hard stuff last night. But in hearing how you do it, it can be extremely demanding and also demeaning.
Thank you.
And my intention is not to be demanding or demeaning. I just want you to do what I tell you to do.
Wait.
I'm just playing.
Eve, that curse of Eve is coming up. I gotta push it down. I gotta push her tail down.
Well, if Adam had a little bit more of a backbone, then take that doggone apple from him. But that piece of fruit, wasn't an apple, a piece of fruit, then we would be all right.
Well, amen. I agree. But in that, it showed me that, you know what, Heather, you probably need to plan ahead a little bit better. Before my husband, I was the type that would get to the airport probably about 20 minutes before I boarded.
Heather, you still do that, baby.
Not as much.
Without me, when you don't travel with me, I get so nervous. I'd be like, Heather, where are you? Like, you're like, I'm on B concourse. Heather, your concourse is on D. Your flight is boarding. You're like, babe, I'm okay. I'm in line. I will make it. And you make me so nervous because I'm like, Heather, so you need to be at the airport at least 2 hours ahead of time for domestic flights.
Baby.
International, 3 hours.
Babe.
Depending upon the country you're in. Some countries, maybe 6.
We left at like 8 and you had us there at like 4. The gate was dark.
The gate was dark. I remember the janitor walked by. He said, what y'all doing? I was like, my flight is leaving here. He said, well, they ain't leaving no time soon. But the good thing was that now we're already there. We didn't have to worry about traffic. We didn't have to worry. If you got to go use the bathroom, go use the bathroom. You want to go shopping? Go shopping. You want to go and run around all the different concourses? Do that. You want a donut? Let's go find one. We're at the airport.
There's so much freedom in that, right?
There's freedom in there.
Yeah.
And you're not rushing and have anxiety. And I just hate that feeling.
Yes. You're so structured with time, right?
Where we going with this? Where are we going with this? Because I got to feel like my closet or something is getting ready to get into this. Okay.
You're so structured.
I feel
with
it.
That.
I feel it. I'm a filler. I'm a filler now. I feel it. Oh my gosh, I feel it.
How come you're not like that with my cash envelope budget idea?
Because I don't like to be controlled.
I'm not controlling you. Oh, so if you said it, it's okay. But if I said it, you're being controlled.
No, that's not. That's not just you. It's anybody. I don't like being controlled. I like being controlled. That's why I get upset with God a lot. Because I feel like I am being controlled. I feel like, okay, God, this is not what I want to do with my life. This was not the course I wanted to take for my life. I didn't want to be a preacher. And now I got people out here who have expectations for me to be the preacher they grew up around or to be the pastor that they've always wanted in their head. And I'm like, I'm not that dude. So don't make me that dude because this is not what I wanted. Like, I didn't want this. So I feel like my life now is me submitting to God. And outside of him, it's very difficult for me to take instructions from people. That's why I left my last 9-to-5 job, October 2010. Here it is, January 2020. And I hadn't clocked into another clock ever since. I was like, either I'm going to be an entrepreneur and have some money, or I'm going to just be dead broke. But I am not going to be in the middle.
But you take instructions from like your mentors and.
I mean, I do.
Oh, you don't?
No, I do. I do. Even that, if I'm being honest, and hey, we keep it 100. I'll be honest.
100.
Even from there, like sometimes I'm listening. I'm like, okay, like I'm telling myself, like, Cornelius, you got to submit to this. You need to listen to this. You have to listen to this. You have to listen to this. So even in that, it can be very difficult because I feel that rising up out of me, like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard before in my life. But I'm like, you know what? You need to trust spiritual authority. So yes, I do. And I have to get oftentimes I get off the phone. I talk to myself. I get my heart right. And then I move forward.
Where did that come from though?
I've always been like that. I didn't never like for people to tell me what to do. Even when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I just didn't like it. Like, I don't know. I looked at adults and I thought y'all are just all like crazy. You guys don't know how to run your own lives. I feel like a kid. And I feel like Logan is like that.
Logan, I was going to say Logan's exactly like
Logan
that.
is exactly like that. He
questions our parenting on a regular basis.
He does. And it gets on my nerves because But that's how I've been as a child. I was like that in school. I didn't want, my teachers, I hate assigned seating. Like, don't tell me where I'm going to sit. I never forget Miss, I won't say her name in public. She might be listening, but I was in elementary school in a little country town in Mississippi, and there was a white teacher and all the white students, she said all the white students in the front, all the black students sat in the back.
Dang.
Newton Elementary School. Yeah. So
Dang.
she was like, okay, you need to find your seat. She was talking to me. And I went and I sat in the front seat. There was a little white girl who was sitting. She had to sit in the back because the only seat that was left. And the teacher got up and said, I need for you to move to the back and let her come to the front.
Dang.
And I remember I was so irate. I was so mad that I couldn't even stay in the class. I was probably in like the 4th or 5th grade at that time, 4th grade, I think. And I never forget that moment. I walked out of class. I was like, I can't even be in here. And she came outside and she tried to console me. That's when my sister, who's ride or die, she was like walking the hallway. And she's like, hold on, why my brother crying? Like, why you make my brother cry? And she's like, Agatha, you need to go back to your class. And I was like, no, I won't. I'm calling my mama. She got her flip phone and she called my mom right there in school. It was the best thing ever. But I just don't like it. So when it comes to things like, you're telling me, here's gonna be a cash envelope system. I'm like, nah, bro.
But if you come up with it, it's okay. If you come up with the idea, it's okay. So this is what I've learned, wives, is I have to frame it where he feels like he came up with the idea, not me. But I really did, but I put it on him.
I be knowing what you be doing.
No, you don't.
I be knowing. I done peep your little game. I done peep your little game.
It's not a game, baby. It's life.
I done peep your little game. I already know what you're doing, player. I already know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, Pepper. I already know. I just be like, whatever. I already know what she's doing. Boom. That's what we're gonna do.
But the thing is, though, I've learned how to communicate with you with certain things.
What in our marriage have you not got in your way with?
Babe, I'm just saying it's not about getting your way because you spoil me, right?
Yeah.
And anything that I've ever wanted, you make sure that it happens.
You've had it.
Except the surprise trip to the Amalfi Coast.
Amalfi Coast?
Or Florence.
Amalfi Coast? Who Amalfi? Who am I? That's your cousin? I ain't never heard of Amalfi. You know Amalfi? I ain't never heard of Amalfi. Amalfi got a coast?
Me on a surprise trip.
Amalfi got a coast? I'll take you on a surprise trip. You want to go to Florida?
Florida? I don't know Florida, and I love you, Florida.
I'll take you to Savannah. You want to go to Savannah? Where you trying to go? Because last time it was Florence.
It was Florence.
Then it was Amalfi
Coast. Me to Florence. I want to just hit up all them little spots while we're out there.
Hey, we've been trying to get to Bora Bora for the longest.
Why don't you do a surprise trip and take
That's
me
too
there?
long, man. When we went to Bali, I was like, yo, like that flight. I remember I went to sleep maybe like 7 different times. I can't even sleep on a plane. I watched that movie, The Avengers. I watched it like 6 times. I was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, the movie's like 3 hours long. And I was just like, started over again. And I like drift off to sleep for 5 minutes, wake back up, fighting scene again. I'm like, dude, like how many times can you feed me on a flight? Like, bruh, like just leave me alone. Like wake me up. If I do that again, I'm going to have to take Benadryl or something just to knock me out.
That's fine. As long as
we'll plan something at some point.
We'll. That sounds plural. We know. Singular. Cornelius.
But I'm not the planner in the relationship.
Oh, it's so crazy. You just planned a pastor's trip and you just planned.
No, I didn't. I didn't plan a pastor's trip. I didn't see. I'm more apostolic in my mind. Mm-hmm. So I'm a beginner. I'm an entrepreneur. I am not good at continuing to put things forward. I implement well. But I have learned with my strengths and my weaknesses, I need legs. I build a team.
I'm your legs.
So and that's what I do. So this is what I do. This is what we're going to do. And then I have full expectation that my legs run to get it done.
So
I didn't plan the pastor's trip.
Hold on.
I said, this is what we're going to do. And then my legs are running to do it.
Your guys trip in Vegas?
Yeah, my guys trip in Vegas. I have legs.
No, you planned it.
I have legs.
Okay, well, why don't you plan it and have Jules do the legs?
Okay, I can do that. That's easy.
I don't want to know the date or time. Just please talk to my assistant.
How you going? Oh, I got to talk to your assistant.
Babe, if it's a surprise trip, the last time you planned it, it
was during your birthday.
At a speaking engagement.
But it was your birthday. Why would you put a speaking engagement next to your birthday?
Baby.
Yes.
Baby. Because I've been called to preach.
Called to preach. Well, you're the one who messed it up because you decided to go to speaking engagement. Then instead of
on the
going
surprise trip I didn't know about. Okay, ladies, this is what we need to do. We need to perfect being mind readers. That's how we survive our marriages. Just kidding.
But this was fun. I really enjoyed this.
Aren't you glad
I forgot we was even recording.
Don't you love that the Holy Spirit led us down this path?
Yeah, but no, I needed some structure next time.
Oh, you need some structure next time.
Next time I need some structure. We need to talk about what we're going to talk about because this gives me anxiety when we don't do things like we said we're going to do. It gives me a little anxiety.
But it was fun though.
It was. But that's why I love you being in my life. Because you have always been able to drive me outside of my box.
That's true.
And I mean, I will never forget like places like El Yunque in Puerto Rico. I'll never be able to forget in Dubai when you're like, hey, babe, let's go out to the desert. And I'm like, babe, we're staying in this beautiful resort, this beautiful hotel. We have a suite, a balcony that's overlooking like this entire, it's almost like the entire UAE. This is beautiful. And you want to go out in the desert to ride a camel?
Yeah.
I was like, that is the craziest thing I heard. And I obliged. And you were the one who got food poisoning because you ate hummus in the desert.
We bringing up old stuff.
Oh, that was so funny. I was knocked out sleeping. You were throwing everything there was at me.
I was throwing shoes at you. I was throwing everything. I couldn't move and you were knocked out. I'm like, how is that even funny?
To this day, I am sorry. But when I woke up and I realized what was happening, it was the funniest thing ever.
But I literally lost like 10 pounds. I threw up my whole life.
I was like, who eats hummus in the desert?
Oh, you're judging me.
I just didn't understand.
Who eats chicken in the desert?
But you saw the chickens running around. The chickens were running around. Did you see beans in the desert? Did you see them beans? Did you see them beans? I ain't see no beans. Did you see beans?
That's probably why I don't eat hummus now.
I didn't see no beans. I didn't see no kind of beans. I did see chicken. So I was like, yo, they must have cooked this thing like right now. It was hot, still clucking when I ate it.
That's disgusting.
All the vegans were like, okay, that's enough. This is over.
And they've ended it.
They've already
don't want to
ended
hear about those poor
like,
animals
it's over.
dying.
It's done. But you know what? Life goes on.
But
community is bigger than what you
too.
know. And we celebrate our differences. And that's the beauty of life. Man, we really appreciate you guys being with us. If this episode meant anything to you, make sure you share it. Tell your family, friends about it. And hey, when you post about it on social media, tag us. This is Cornelius and
I am Heather L. Love.
So this is Cornelius, Heather L. Love. Also, you can hashtag life with the Lindseys. We just love to just know that y'all are enjoying it, that y'all are getting something out of it. I love it when I see the couples like post together because they both listening to it. Like that's really dope to me. Like you engaged, courting, married, all that kind of stuff. But yo, we out. Can't wait to be with y'all next Friday.
Next Friday.
It's gonna be good, y'all.
And,
all right.
And really quick, it's so cute. I seeing the little messages from people saying they're suffering from withdrawal.
Oh, from our podcast?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Somebody hit me was like, we love it. We love if you did one every day. Bruh, we got 3 kids, like 3 small kids.
I would like to talk to you for 50 minutes uninterrupted every single day.
You do in the bed when you bring up things. Remember, you just said,
whoa.
God bless you.
Whoa.
Hey, sing. All right, y'all. Bye.